Welcome back, Star Wars fans, to the Hyperspace Database. I'm Jonesy the Mandalorian, your host here with today's topic, the Stinger Mantis. The Stinger Mantis was a custom S-161 Stinger XL luxury yacht that was owned by the Latero Grease Dritus and was developed by the Latero Spaceworks Corporation around 14 years before the Battle of Yavin. The Mantis was roughly 100 feet in length and was armed with two main laser cannons above the cockpit. It was equipped with sublight engines and a hyperdrive system, and while we are not given the stats for these systems, it probably functioned much like other luxury star yachts, like Lando Calrissian's Soro Sub 3000, the Lady Luck, which could travel up to 510 miles per hour in atmosphere. An interesting feature of the ship was its rotating wing design, which rotated once to allow the engine unit to lock into position, then rotated back vertically to land. While in flight, this engine unit and stabilizer wing would rotate on an axis around the ship, much like the Mandalorian Comrock fighters seen in the Clone Wars and Rebels TV shows. The interior of the ship was split up into several sections along its length, which all served different functions. The frontmost part of the ship housed the cockpit, where the pilot, co-pilot, and sensor operator all sat. There were many viewports all around the pilot, so that they would have a wider field of view than many other ships, who preferred more overhead viewing than floor viewports. The next section behind the cockpit housed the holomap area, where a large holotable was located with form couches surrounding it, so that the crew could plot out the next destinations and do research on those planets. Behind that area were the boarding ramps, which could be accessed from either side of the ship, depending on its landing orientation. Next was the main commons area, where another form couch was located next to a small table, providing the crew an area to relax or plot out their next objectives. Above and behind this area was a small galley and kitchen area, where Grease would serve the crew their meals, as he was fond of doing. There was a large terrarium across the walkway from here, which gave a little life and scenery to the eating area. Further back in the ship were the crew quarters and what we must assume to be other storage areas, though what was stored in these rooms is a mystery. The furthest point back in the ship housed the engine room, which had an upper level and a lower level by way of an access ladder. This lower level also held the two escape pods that were aboard the Mantis, and the engine room also doubled as the temporary living quarters of Cal Kestis. The Stinger Mantis was created for the video game Jedi Fallen Order, which sees the crew travel to many planets and go on many adventures. If you haven't played the game yet and don't want the story spoiled, pause the video, go play the game, and come back, because we're about to dive into the history and trivia behind this ship. The crew of the Mantis consisted of the pilot and owner of the ship, Grease Dritus, his primary client, former Jedi Seer Junda, the Jedi Padawan Cal Kestis, and later the Night Sister Merrin from the planet Dathomir. The origins of the Mantis are fairly straightforward. Grease Dritus, who was born on the planet Lateran, was raised by his great-grandmother, and while he did not grow up wealthy, was able to eventually attend the Lateran Space Academy, where he learned to pilot starships. This love of piloting led to Grease taking out a substantial loan and purchasing the Stinger Mantis, which enabled him to leave his home planet of Lateran and become a pilot for hire, though he would come to miss his home planet, and grieved over how the Empire took control and set about exploiting it and its resources. Grease then took the Mantis and traveled to Cosmos, hiring out his services to those that he could ferry across the galaxy as a courier. This led to him meeting and getting hired by Seer Junda, and the two of them set out on the secret mission to restore the Jedi Order. While Grease was not too fond of danger and was often hesitant to put his beloved ship in harm's way, he still found himself piloting the Mantis to the scrap world of Bracca, to follow the Inquisitors in the hopes of rescuing a Jedi that was rumored to be there. This led to the crew running into Cal Kestis, and just in time too, as the Jedi Padawan was escaping from the Second Sister, who had killed his only friend on the planet when he defied their order to give up the Jedi. Seer recruited Cal to help her in her quest to restore the Jedi Order, and although Cal was reluctant at first, the many adventures they went on afterwards helped him to heal from his emotional trauma, and also come to peace with his master's final moments, which enabled him to grow in the Force and not be afraid of the pain any longer. The crew traveled to several planets in their adventures, and the Mantis made those voyages smooth and as comfortable as possible for the long trips, from the frozen tundras of the planet Ilum to rescuing an imprisoned Cal on the Haxian Brood home base of Ordo Eris, which was constructed on the remnants of the old Polis Massa cluster. The crew eventually made their way to the planet Dathomir, where they encountered the Night Sister Merrin. She was openly hostile to Cal, as an armored Jedi had come to the planet and killed all of her sisters in a fierce battle, so she assumed that Cal was there to do the same to her and to her Night Brothers. After Cal was able to explain himself, the two teamed up and defeated a rogue fallen Jedi who had come to the planet. Merrin then asked to join the crew and see the galaxy, in an attempt to avenge her sisters as well as to move on and give a greater purpose to her life. The Mantis traveled to several worlds, unlocking more secrets about the mysterious Zepho species and the enigmatic Jedi Master Eno Cordova, who had hidden a holocron filled with the names of Force-sensitive children that were meant to restart the Jedi Order should it fall to ruin. This holocron was eventually found by the crew of the Mantis, though the second sister, who was in fact Cere's former apprentice Trilla Suduri, was able to steal it and take it to the Fortress Inquisitorius on the planet Nur. The Mantis made the dangerous trek to the Inquisitor training facility, but since it was a luxury yacht, it did not have much in the way of offensive weaponry, let alone a cloaking device or other stealth systems. This was overcome by the timely assistance of Merrin, who was able to use her magics to cloak the ship from Imperial scanners, and allowed Cere and Cal to infiltrate the planet in the Mantis' 2 escape pods. After the pair infiltrated the base and fought their way through to the innermost chamber, Cal fought against Trilla and defeated her, though the victory was short-lived, as Darth Vader confronted them and struck down the Inquisitor for her failure. Both Cal and Cere managed to escape the Dark Lord's clutches, though only barely, and would have drowned if not for another timely rescue by Merrin. With the holocron back in Jedi hands, Cere told Grease that his contract was fulfilled, though the Latero had become fond of his guests, and told them that the work was not over, and that they were welcome to stay on and keep using the ship in their mission to restore the Jedi Order. Where the Stinger Mantis ended up after this point is unknown, and the fate of its crew is also a mystery, but there was no doubt that during its adventures across the galaxy, it served very well as a mobile base of operations, and as a symbol of hope for its crew in the face of overwhelming odds. Want to know more about great Star Wars topics just like this one? Stick around to the end for some secret trivia, hit those like and subscribe buttons, and the bell to never miss an episode that I publish. Be sure to chat with me in the comments too, because I really want to hear from you. Super special shout out to my Gold Captain level Patreon supporters, Miss 2003, Nick Sutphin, and Matthew Scott. Your support is so appreciated and you keep the show going. Thank you so much. Be sure to chat with me in the comments about this topic or any other thing Star Wars related, and recommend something for a future episode, because I want to hear from you. You can also check the show out on social media for more news and channel updates. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.